ever heard that an 800 credit score is the equivalent of having $100,000 in cash? I have. So let's talk about how we can increase those credit scores. Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to Makeup and Money. If you're new here, I'm Danielle and welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about how we can increase our credit score 200 points. And this is what we did for my husband's credit, and I feel like these points will help you as well. So if you're interested in learning more about it, please stay tuned. So I have a few key tips, and I have them written down on what exactly we did to help raise my husband's credit score and just credit raising tips in general. So unless you're a multi-millionaire or a billionaire and you know for sure you'll never use anything but cash, including to buy a house, in all foreseeable future for yourself, then you don't need credit. But for all the people who know that they're going to have to probably finance their house or anything, you need to have credit. So the first thing that you can do is, one, check your credit score. I think this pretty much goes without saying because you don't know what you don't know. And I say this all the time, but how do you know how much you need to rate your credit score? How do you know what those derogatory marks are if you're not checking your credit report? And it's a lot of free, easily accessible resources like Credit Karma or Mint or freecreditreport.com, which I think is the most beneficial because you get 3 free ones a year, and it doesn't have the skew that a lot of the reporting sites have, like Credit Karma and all them. They have like a 30-40 point skew sometimes, so you might look like you're doing better than you actually are. So if you go into like a freecreditreport.com, all 3 credit bureaus report to them. So TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they all report to them, and you can see all of your derogatory marks across the board. So step 1, check your credit. This is very important. So step 2 is to pay off your debt and pay it on time. This is very important, and it contributes to reducing your credit utilization, avoiding any derogatory marks, and having a very good payment history. These are very high impact items on your credit report, and that directly affects your credit score. So what is credit utilization? This is basically how much you spend versus how much you have available on your credit cards. So if you have $2,000 available on your credit cards and you spend $1,900 of it, you're going to have a very high credit utilization. And if you carry that high credit utilization over the course of several months, that directly reduces your score. So if you reduce that $1,900 down to $600 or to zero, preferably, your credit utilization is under 30%, and that's what reflects very well on your credit report and directly increases your credit score. And when you increase your credit utilization, you have a better debt to income ratio. So when it is time for you to buy a house or whatever, you have a lower debt to income ratio. So your debt to income ratio is basically your total debt divided by your gross income, and that is what the banks use and what creditors use to determine if you can afford the loan or whatever they're trying to give you for a mortgage or whatever. So it's always good to have a lower debt to income ratio, a lower credit card utilization if you're going to use your credit. I feel like this part is the most difficult because you have to pay off that debt and you have to be current. So you have to take really good inventory of what you're spending your money on, get on a budget, and pay that debt and pay that credit card off every single month if you're going to continue to use it. And if you don't feel like that you trust yourself with using your credit card, cut it up. That way you still have the credit card and you still have that credit history, but you are not tempted to use your credit card. And that includes deleting your credit card information off of your phone. So you can't just use your thumbprint and still charge the card. Like, delete it off of every source that you have available and cut up the card so you're not tempted to use it while you're still building up your credit. There's this whole school of thought, like if you open up a credit card and use that, then your credit utilization is higher because you have a new credit card with no spend on it. If you have absolutely no credit and you're watching this video to build initial credit, then yes, I think it is a good idea to open up a credit card, use it once or twice, cut it up unless you trust yourself with it and you know you're going to pay it off every month. But if not, cut it up and don't use it. But then if you're trying to repair your credit, opening up a new credit card is probably not a very good idea, because yes, your credit utilization will go up, but you also get that hit as a hard inquiry, and so it nets to a negative impact. So it's better to just build the credit, cut up the cards that you do have, and don't use them anymore, and pay those off, and you will see your credit score skyrocket. Once those debts and past due payments are caught up, you will get caught up. Now, within this pay off your debt and pay it on time, there's always a question of collection accounts and settlements and things of that nature. I will say, when we first started paying off our debt, my husband had a bunch in collections for like medical bills and stuff like that, and like old Sprint bills and stuff. And he had them since he was like 18, so they were really, really old. And so we just disputed them. Like if they were over 7 years old, we disputed them to get them off our account. Also, we disputed any charge that was not 100% accurately reported. So you can dispute a charge or a claim on your credit report if it's not accurate or verifiable. So if a company has gone out of business, or the amount that is being reported and the terms that are being reported on your credit report is not 100% accurate, you can dispute it. Not through Credit Karma or whatever, because that's just basically a third party submitting a template, and you don't want that. You want to submit a letter, like type out a letter and submit it to the 3 credit bureaus and dispute that charge and specify that it was not verifiable, this isn't an accurate charge, or whatever the case may be. Dispute those charges, because you'll be surprised what can get taken off. Also, if you have something that just got reported to a collection agency, say within the first 30 days, the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, that basically protects you within that first 30 days. You can get that account paid off through the original creditor so that it does not impact your credit score. And a lot of people don't know about that, but you can do that. I used to work at a collection agency when I first started working, and a lot of people don't know about the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. I highly recommend to read it. It makes such a huge difference on the knowledge and what you can do. It's there to protect the consumer. So take a time and read the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or key points in it, and you can just Google it and use that as a resource, because that's what it's there for. And this is one of those key things that I think about, like if you're new to building credit, or you're trying to repair your credit score, there's one thing that you can do to increase your credit history and boost it, and that is to piggyback. And piggybacking is basically, if you know somebody who has really good credit and has a credit card, you can get on their credit card account, not get a credit card. You make sure you tell them, like, you cut up the credit card, the company cannot send you a new one, but you're on that account, so you reap the benefits of their good credit. This has to be a person that you know is on it. Like they have to dot their I's, cross their T's, always pay their bills on time, always keep a low credit utilization. What comes to mind in the piggyback instance is a parent or a sibling or a family member or a friend that you know is trustworthy and has their stuff together, basically. So to wrap up all of that, pay off your bills and pay them on time. And anything that's being reported and revolving, you want to make sure you're paying that as often and as quickly as possible, so that you don't have any more derogatory marks. Your credit utilization starts to go down. Your payment history starts to perform better. So that chunk right there is the biggest impact on your credit report. Step 3 is to stop any behavior that will negatively impact your credit report. And this is basically anything that you were doing to get your credit report and your credit score to the point that it was that you need to build it. You need to stop that action right now. I mean, put a brakes on it and stop it, because if you continue the cycle, then you're never going to have a better credit score. So stop those actions. Identify what those problems are. So like if you know you're a big spender and you know you're going to use your credit cards, cut those bad boys up. Like you don't need them. And if you do need them, that means you have an income issue. So you need to increase your income or something. You need to identify what that issue is and fix it. So number 4 is to be patient. I know, easier said than done. And I am the least patient person ever. Like, I do not like to wait for anything. I like instant gratification. I want it there and done now. Like, if I pay off a bill, I want to see my credit score 50 points higher. But you have to be patient. Time is your best friend. So those are my few key points to check your credit score, pay off your debt and pay it on time, stop any behavior that will negatively impact your credit report, and be patient. So I hope you guys found this video very helpful. If you have any questions or you want to talk about your credit increase journey, please put them in the comments. Like, subscribe, let me know any new topics that you want me to discuss, and I will see you guys next Monday. See you soon.